Welcome to Module 2 of Understanding Silence in Intimate Relationships. This is where we're going to go into another layer because that is what we do. Let's get started. As we move through the personal power plan, the O, of course, is the owning your emotions. Why are we even looking at this? Well, there's a very, very big reason I personally want everybody to look at this level, because if we're not connected to what's happening here, then we're reading and we're intellectualizing and we're only learning up here. But when we think about it, the silent treatment or the need for space and all of that, it is all rooted in emotion. This is the module that we are in right now, module 2. When we look at things, when you really look at it, we need space, or we want to pull away silently, and we want to do all of these. Why? Because we get big feelings. These are just things that kind of happen to us. We react, we get triggered, we get confused, whatever it is, feelings are at the root of our reactions and need to pull away. Looking at the person who receives the silent treatment or the need for space, here we go. What are they left with? Also some very big feelings of things like possibly rejected, possibly abandoned, possibly left behind. These are, of course, what will happen when someone pulls away from you very easily. Obviously, not all the time. Now, I've worked with hundreds of relationships where the silent treatment was used, and these are the more common things that a person receiving silence experiences. I want to just pause for a couple of minutes and give you a couple of seconds and give you some time to scan. Probably the one that I personally experienced the worst kind of is number 12 right there, when I feel unheard and dismissed, when my feelings are ignored. That is, this is just what's going to happen when we don't know what's happening in a relationship and they choose to pull away. And it's very important that you do have a glance at this. And again, remember, you will have a copy of this. This will be part of your personal power plan. And so I just really need for you to understand that A, you are not alone. And B, these feelings are very normal to experience under these silent situations. So, yeah, pretty big. These are pretty big. Now, because this course is also for those who use silence, which I will humbly admit that I have used myself. This is what's on the other side of it. Those who go silent, these are the things they feel. These are the things I've felt. My biggest one for myself is right there in number 1. I feel overwhelmed and I don't know how to express myself, so I shut down. I am a very expressive person and I have no problems finding words. Now, my issue was more, though, that I was so overwhelmed by what was happening inside of me that I didn't trust myself to just speak without spurting out everything bluntly and hurting my partner's feelings, hurting my husband's feelings. And I also couldn't actually put my big feelings into words. It's really, really tricky when you feel like something is really wrong happening inside of you. And I think the other one that I suffered from earlier in my relationships history is this one, number 14, where I fear my emotions will be dismissed, so I keep them to myself. That was me. So lots to think about and lots to consider and lots of feelings involved in this. In fact, it is the primary reason that we suffer. When we narrow them down to actual words, here are the list of the things that people experience specifically. So it is things like, there we go, confusion, loneliness, hurt. You can read, it's all there. However, maybe the one that people get confused about is things like Why would somebody, the last one there, why would I feel embarrassed if I'm the one being given the silence? Well, sometimes your partner might do that in front of other people. Or sometimes other people will be asking about your partner, and it's kind of embarrassing to say, well, actually, they shut me out. And so many of us have felt the need to kind of protect our partners, suffering ourselves, sacrificing ourselves when we're with friends and family, just so, well, because of the shame involved. Your loved ones will be really upset that you've allowed yourself or are in that situation. And sometimes that's even more than we can handle when we are already suffering from having been shut out. Okay, I think the rest are pretty self-explanatory. Feeling insecure, it's usually around what does this mean for my relationship? Does this mean that are we on the road to ending? Is this the end? Is this something that'll keep happening to the point that we will end? Will this, you could see how our minds can sort of go spiral a little bit when it comes to these deep feelings that we experience, and it's understandable why. When someone goes silent, they have feelings. We have feelings too. I've already noted that overwhelmed is my number one. And you might be thinking, well, I don't understand how somebody could feel powerless when they're the one giving silence. Well, sometimes it is because they are powerless it's because they are powerless that they shut down. They don't know what to do. They don't know what they can do. And so the easiest thing might seem to retreat. It doesn't always make sense, but sometimes humans don't make sense and we are not logical in how we react. The embarrassment, you're thinking, well, why would they be embarrassed? They're the one, doing all of this. They brought it on themselves. Well, sometimes when partners use silence, they know they're not supposed to. They know it's a little bit infantile. They know it's a little immature to do, and they can't stop themselves because they don't or we don't know anything else. And so it's kind of, you admit to yeah, hey, what happened? Well, I shut my partner out because he was being a real whatever. And then, it's easy for somebody else to say, well, why don't you just talk? Easier said than done. However, we're talking about the dynamics and the feelings about it right now, and these are in the underlying layer of what happens when we are giving silence. It's a lot. The defensiveness is pretty obvious as well. Sometimes they really are, or we really are on guard to the point that it's the big wall that we put in front of people. And of course, unfortunately, or fortunately, it does come with temporary relief, as in, at least for now, I don't have to deal with it and I could breathe a little bit and gather myself, even if you and I know that's only temporary and that's not really fixing the problem, because the point is always to do that, to fix a problem together. And lots going on there. Now, this is the reason I wanted to do the course this way. When you put the list of feelings side by side for those who are given the silence and those who are receiving the silence, this is what you see. There is a lot more in common than there is not. The most important thing for people to remember is that there are no winners when we use silence. And this is why I'm doing a course like this, because I really want for people to know that there are better options than that. Again, I am still fine with I need space, but give it a time limit and honor that. This is a lot of information I've given you. I just want us to pause for a moment and consider, where was I in that big list of things as the receiver of the silence or as the giver of the silence? What did I learn about myself here? And of course, what did I learn about my relationship so far? And maybe another one to add is, what kind of relationship would I like to see for myself in the future? Actually, more importantly, what kind of partner would I like to be in the future? That wraps up this module. On to the next.